Just want to talk a little bit more about things I've been observing, well, I have observed, but just kind of like, not really putting pieces together. I've already put the pieces together, but just, more things just kind of like shine a light on your head a little bit every now and then. You start to kind of think, oh yeah, those dots connected, or that dot connected, something like that. But I was want to talk a little more about my old neighborhood. The guy that lived across the street from me, and more things like, I didn't really mention the last video, like, also too, like, say I would walk to the grocery store, right, which is down the street. He'd go to another grocery store and walk, and he'd come home just exactly as I was coming home, and he'd be looking at his phone, and then he'd look at me, and then look at his phone, and then stare at me, and that was like his way of, like, letting me know that he's tracking me. That's when I really started to, well, that's not when I started to know, but that's like one of the signals that I picked up on, that, he was obviously the one masterminding this, or, had a big part in it. And, yeah, it was like all real passive aggressive, really cunty shit. I mean, it was really, really like, and I don't use that word cunt really ever, because I think it's really derogatory. It's bad word towards women, and I think if any word should describe a cunt, it should be these ass fucks that do this shit. Like, it's so cunty what they do. It's more passive aggressive than a fucking 13-year-old middle school girl would make towards her friend. It's so petty, and that's the kind of shit he did. So he was a huge cunt, and would do cunty things all the time like that. Real passive-aggressive shit. But I really, believe he's still continuing to do it. And the last video I recorded, which one thing that I noticed was in my driveway, the person that lives there now has the exact same type of car that I do. And everything looks the same in my place. Even my bird feeder that I left there is still hanging up. And I would not be surprised if they're stealing my identity. And that really wouldn't surprise me if they're trying to mimic me, pretend I still live there, or some kind of shit. Something's up their sleeve, and something that, and that asshole still's got a big, huge hand in it, obviously. And like I said, I don't think it all necessarily started with him, but that's when it became obvious was with him. They could have been targeting me since I was 5 years old, for all I know. If I had to guess, maybe high school. I don't know why. That's the thing. I don't do anything to anyone. I mind my own business, keep to myself, and that's just how I am. I don't bother anyone, and I don't know what they can sense about me that I'm not a sheep. I guess that's what they sense, that I'm not a sheep. I don't follow the herd. I think like I want. And I think that scares them. I think that really scares somebody, and they started targeting me. But for some reason, it got worse over the years, and in the last year, they wanted to make it so obvious that they're doing it. But I don't let it bother me, or I don't let it keep me for what I'm doing, and I don't really like, it's not anything that gets me down, but it's just sometimes it's like, you just notice it, and you're like, oh, that's that, or that's this, and you're just like, I think I should make a video on this, or I think I should record this, because someday I might tell somebody about this, and they might not believe me. So maybe I should go ahead and just document it now. You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. It's like, it's nothing that interferes with my life or prevents me from doing anything I want to do, but it's something that I feel like should be documented. Not every single thing, but sometimes I'm like coming home and like, or I'm out and I'm like, I should have been recording that, and fuck, if I only recorded that like 5 seconds longer, that kind of thing, But the other thing too about this guy that lived across from me is like, he was a I guess, I don't know, he's not a neuroscientist. He was, or went to school for it or something, because I looked all his information up, and he was into neuroscience, and he must be some kind of like neuroscientist flunky or something. He couldn't make that couldn't get a degree in that or something, because that's not what he does for a living now. He doesn't have anything to do with neuroscience. But I wouldn't be surprised if somehow he's connected to these psychiatric institutions, because they have a big part in this shit too. I mentioned churches the other day. Churches have a big hand in it, and so do the psychiatric industry, because the more that you go through this shit, the more they want to put you on drugs, they want to put you in mental institutions, they want to get you psychiatric help, counseling, all this shit. Because when you report this to police, that's what they do. They're like, oh, you need to go somewhere, you want us to call someone, they gaslight the shit out of you, and they don't take it seriously, so that's why I don't even fuck with that anymore. But like, for all I know, he could have been working for them and then still doing some kind of his own contracting work on the side, doing that, for them and giving them my information, That came that came to mind too. But yeah, they really benefit from it. I mean, churches benefit because the more they put this whole like us versus evil versus good shit. There's no demons behind this. It's just high-end technology that we don't have access to, that been around for probably 50, 60 years, that is being subcontracted out to private security companies and who knows else, and they use these low-life pieces of shit to do what they, do the gang stalking. Not all of them are low-life pieces of shit, but most of them are. But like the ones they do use, they're not giving them this technology, but they're giving them the information to go do what they're doing because they have access to it. There's no demons. There's no. I think this is satanic in a way, and I think there's some satanic aspects to it. But it's just, at the end of the day, it's high-end technology. And so they want to get the church involved in all this shit so they can sell that and get people to go to church more and turn to God more. And they want to use the psychiatric industries more so they can benefit from it by you going and they can pop pills down your throat. And then they make big bucks off of that and big bucks off of psychotherapy. And I got to be honest with you. I don't take medication. I never have. I did take a long ass time ago. I did, when I was in probably like third grade, maybe. I don't know. A long last time ago, they said I had ADD or something, or ADHD or something. So they gave me like Ritalin for like 3 years, and it made me feel like shit, made me throw up, and it didn't do anything. So I came off it, and then they realized that they don't really think it was ADHD. It was just, I've always been kind of a hyper guy. That's just how I am. That's really it. But I've been to a psychologist before, and it was probably about 4 years ago. Yeah, 4 years ago. And I went for a couple years, and I actually mentioned, I started noticing things like to her about cameras being placed outside this guy's house, in his Jeep, in his house, in his window. And as soon as I did that, she really gaslit the shit out of me and started saying, medication, I need to refer you to a psychiatrist, you need to go on this medication, that. And every time I would even bring up cameras, I'm crazy, I'm delusional, it would just go right to that. She wouldn't even listen or hear what I have to say. Even when I said I knew there were cameras right there, she didn't want to hear it. She automatically went to that. It's almost like she knew what I was talking about, and she didn't want it to me to go into any more detail with her. And then she got so scared by that she wanted to refer me to someone else. So at that point, I'm like, I'm not going to a psychiatrist. I don't need medicine, and I'm not going to another therapist, which she wanted me to go to a therapist. So that when that happened, it was actually, and then right before COVID happened, she transferred, and so I just stopped. I don't even go to therapists anymore, and I don't frankly feel like I need to go to one. As much shit as they put me through, you think I would, but I don't. But it's just obviously have a big hand in this shit. It really is. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out. It's not some big ass conspiracy theory, It's like I said, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, I just go where the evidence leads me, and the evidence have led me to all this. It just makes sense. The dots are connecting. So, yeah, just watch out when you get a therapist if you tell them about this shit, because they won't believe you, and then they will try to make you sound like you're crazy and try to gaslight you and try to put you on all kinds of medication and shit. And, it all ties into all kinds of shit and all this stuff. It's not just the psychiatric industry and churches. Sure, it's other shit too, but it's just, it's not right, you know? I mean, it's just not, it's not what represents this country. I mean, Constitution, everything. I mean, it just seems like it goes against everything that our ancestors fought for and our forefathers, everything. I mean, I know times have changed, and then 9/11 happened. They had to sign the Patriot Act and all, but damn, I mean, they really used to sell that shit to spy on people, and that's not right, you know? I mean, such an invasion of privacy. And then the fact that they make it so obvious that they're invading your privacy and they rub it in your face is even more fucked up. You know? It's like someone robbing a bank and coming out with the money and just holding it in your face. Haha, look what I can do, look what I can do. I mean, that's not legal. I mean, you know what I mean? So why should this be? Let me know what y'all think. I just wanted to make another video. And I'll talk to y'all later.